It must be time for a news conference, and what an exciting week this is. It's conference time up at Asheville. Just to refresh everyone's memory, the women will open up Thursday at 1:15 against UNCG. The men will open up Friday night, 5 o'clock against the Citadel. And just know a couple of things of note as we bring Coach Gardner up. 2 years ago, Coach Gary's team defeated Samford the first round. They defeated Walford the second, VMI the third, and made it to the championship game. So as you look at the challenge ahead, just know this team has gotten there before. Coach Gardner has had success with the tournament, obviously, with championships in 18, 19, 21, and last year. So certainly we're all optimistic as our two teams head to Asheville. Coach Gardner, we'll let you go first today, if that's okay.
I really wasn't ready to go first.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. So I made the mistake, torturing myself on the way up here today to look at the rankings and realize that had we have won on Saturday, there would have been a four-way tie for first place, and we would have been one of those teams in first place. So I wish I had not done that, because I said I wasn't going to do stuff like that. But it is what it is, and so now it's time to be like as cliche as you can get. Everyone is 0-0. Heading into Asheville, we have had some success up there, and everybody wants to ask, is it a good matchup? Who do you want to play? All those dumb questions that people ask. At this time of year, it really matters not who you play. Everyone, this is probably the most, since I've been here for sure, the most parity there's been on the women's side. That it truly is, all 8 coaches, I would imagine, are going there thinking we can win. Because there's never been, the team that won, that came in first, lost 4 games, So there's a lot of parity this year. There's been a lot of interesting wins and losses. So we're ready. We're excited to be heading to Asheville. So don't ask me dumb questions. I already told you which ones are dumb.
What's the matchup with UNCG that you think you fair?
Funny.
Coach, normally you guys recently have been going into this as the 1 seed, kind of the top dog. This year, how's the mentality maybe a little different, especially like you're saying, things are wide open. How's the mentality kind of changed this year?
I talk so little about that with our team. I really never talked about it when we were number 1. And just the only difference is I said, hey, we'll be wearing our black uniforms in the first game, where normally you wear your white uniforms. But we don't talk about it at all. That's the way I approach it. I may be wrong. I'm not going in there, okay, we got a chip on our shoulder, and we got to, we're playing UNC Greensboro. That's what we're saying. So sorry, that's a bad answer, but there's for me, there's no different mentality. So I don't know their mentality because I haven't talked about it. So.
Now you say it's 0-0, kind of, but before we get to that point, kind of tell me what this regular season overall has just kind of meant or conspired, and what it has come to now at this point going into the tournament.
I'll probably need a week or 2 after the season ends to really digest this year, because when you're living in the moment, you feel it emotionally. And so for me to answer that question from an emotional perspective may not be the best way to answer. But it's been different for sure. We typically have won close games, and we're not winning close games. That doesn't mean that we can't. I feel that I do know the reason behind the way this year has gone, which I will not answer that question, but it's my job to get that solved. At the same time, we have a group of players that have won championships, and they know what it feels like. They know we know the routine. We have a really good routine when we go to Asheville as a coaching staff, and it just kind of flows, and it's just normal and natural. And we have a certain high school that we practice at. We have our shooting around. We do have everything kind of in a routine. I'm very routine oriented. And we know we have 1 game left, and that's all we know.
What's going to have to be the point of emphasis now in the tournament?
We talk about this all the time, and maybe it's because we talk about it all the time, but we talk about every game being a possession game, and not just the end possession, but it could be the first, hustle ball charge, whatever the case may be. And we talk possession game all the time. Defense. Our defense has got to be there for 40 minutes, not just 26. One thing that I've been a little bit disappointed with this year has been our rebounding collectively. I'm not a stats person at all, but you can use stats if you want to use them. And I wrote on the board yesterday at practice, or in our team room, we're first in a lot of stats offensively, and that doesn't translate to winning. But I just wanted them to see this is where we're very, very low in the stats and rebounding, and that is something that we've got to do better at to win any game. We've lost games because the other team has out rebounded us or got a key rebound at that time. So, every factor. We're not good enough this year to take plays off. We've got to play for 40, and that's what they've got to understand. It's got to be a 40-minute game.
To what you just alluded to there, is there something to Asheville and the familiarity and all the success that you guys have had there? I know not a lot of your players have maybe been there before, but when it comes to that routine and having such good feelings associated with the place, is there something to that?
All I know is we get an hour or 50 minutes to be in the gym on Wednesday. And every team has 50 minutes on that day. Women's team does. And all I know is when I walk into that gym, my body changes. And you can't describe it, unless you just walk into the gym and it just, something happens. You feel a certain way. And I don't know, that this is the moment, that at a mid-major in the Southern Conference, this is the moment, no matter what's happened, this is the moment that we have to perform. And, there's a sense of confidence, maybe there's a sense of whatever, but there's a sense of, this is important. And we play music now before practices all the time, and my staff, my Dobo knows what music that I want to hear when we get to Asheville that brings actually a tear to my eye. And I can't remember the name of it. I never know the songs, but I'm a very emotional person, and Asheville does get me emotional. I'm not gonna lie. And sometimes I'll be driving down the road just visualizing, different years where we won big one year and we won close one year and we cut down the nets, and then I can visual. I'm very visual, and I can visualize those types of things. And you do want to live those times again, to be quite honest.
So you don't have this music saved on a playlist or something?
I just learned how to make a playlist.
I don't think.
I made a playlist last bus trip, and I actually played it before the Furman game, and I was very proud of myself. But I do not know the song that makes me cry. I'll have to find that out for you. But
What's on that playlist?
I'm not going to tell you, Daniel.
When you guys cut down the nets last year, what were those emotions and feelings like? And I'm sure that's something you chase year after year. I know so much has changed in the last year, but looking at the past 12 months, what makes you feel good about this week?
Every year that we've won has been different for different reasons. The first year was obviously the first year ever, so that was the historical year. The second year was exciting because a really good class had graduated, and those juniors that were now seniors really wanted it because they wanted to say, hey, we were pretty good too. And then we had our year that we just, we were really bad, and then to come back after winning, that was pretty special to kind of turn it that quickly. Honestly, sometimes it's a relief. I hate to say it. I think last year might have been more of a relief. So that was last year's feeling for me personally was a little bit different than maybe those other 3 years. So this year, if we can get past, I'm just going to talk about Greensboro. We're just going to talk about Greensboro. I'll let you know if we're fortunate enough on Sunday. I'll let you know, but you may see me crying. You may see me crying on Thursday if we win Thursday. But I'm excited. I said to the team, I probably shouldn't have said this, but sometimes I say things I shouldn't say. I said to the team in the locker room at Wofford, I said, look, I said, part of me is glad that this regular season is over. Just like, let this regular season end and let's move on to what's next. Now, should I have said that? I don't know. But that's what my heart was feeling at the time, so it came out, and so we'll see what happens.
Specifically, UNCG coach, first game up, we lost to them here, we beat them there. What are the keys for us getting off to a good start?
Hey, I can say this about any, draw a name out of the hat. I can say they're playing really well right now. And UNCG is playing really well. They beat Chattanooga in the final game of the year, and Chattanooga was in the running for first place as well. They're very athletic. They have the leading rebounder in the conference in Kane. She's one of the top rebounders, actually offensive rebounders in the country. She's a handful for us. They play fast. Both games here and there, we got leads in the first half, and we relinquished the leads both times. And so that's my point, is that we can't take plays off. We're not that team that can get a lead and say, okay, we're good now. Let's just go. We have to play for 40, and they're very. Trina does a great job. I was watching the game on the bus because I think their game was later that night, and so as we were driving home, I was watching. I was just noticing. You kind of watch body language, and I think, they're playing very, very confidently right now, for sure, without hesitation. So it's going to be a tough contest for us.
Team healthy? Healthy?
I heard you. I mean, Summer's been out. She's been practicing this week. So, we'll see.
Anything else for Coach Gardner?
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Okay, Coach Gary.
All right, a little recap from the last week. We went to Furman and one possession game. Didn't pull that out, so that hurt a little bit, but it was good to see us play well on the road, especially against obviously one of the better teams in the conference. I think for the last few weeks, we've been really, really close and playing pretty good, especially on the defensive end. And so we lost that one by a possession, and then come back and have senior night. Citadel played 15 guys, 11 scored, so it was a feel-good game. Thought we played really well defensively, held them to 50 points. So as we go into the conference tournament, keys should be for us, we got to score the ball a little bit better, because I think our defense is really, we're putting so much pressure on it. If we can continue and sustain our defense, the way we have been doing, then anything's possible, especially if we start scoring the ball on the offensive end. But I was proud of the way we ended against Citadel, and looking forward to turning back and playing them again on Friday. So, any questions?
Beating them down like that this last week, how do you keep the team from being complacent going into the first round? Like, oh, we just beat them last week, let's just do what we did. How do you keep the team from getting eased up and complacent right away facing them?
Oh, well, they had one of their leading scorers not play, so I'm sure he'll be playing on Friday. And again, like, you shouldn't be complacent when you're going into a one and done. Like, you lose, you're going home, you're going fishing. So there shouldn't be any complacency whatsoever. I don't care who you're playing when you get into a tournament situation.
I want to know overall thoughts about the regular season. Like you said, towards the end, you guys lost a lot of one-possession games. A lot of great teams like Furman, a 3-point loss. Just kind of tell me what this season has been overall, and just how it's worked through the point that you're at right now.
Yeah, Susie had a great comment there, because emotionally, do I feel great about it right now? No, not whatsoever. So I'm going to maybe take her answer, and it might take a week or so afterwards, and then I'll start thinking about it. Obviously, it's not as gone like we wanted to, but it's all learning and teaching. They're going to be in this situation again. There's a bunch of close games that happen. The guys coming back, they've got to learn from it. So it's something that's not easy to deal with, but you have to deal with it. And what are you going to do about it? Like, you can't forget about it, and you can't get too emotional about it. You've got to figure out, okay, what do we need to do? Just like Susie said, all right, we got to solve it. So we have a problem. We know what the solution is. Now let's go do it. Does that mean adding some pieces? Does that mean doing a little something different? Yes, it does. But that'll be on down the line after this year's over.
Offensively, what are the keys for your team? I mean, because defense
It's a hard question because we haven't had like Jalen McCreary's been a pretty consistent scorer for us, you know. And in the years past, we've had 4, 5 guys in double figures. You know, this year we got 1, 2, and that's just not enough. So it's being able to get a few other people, kids, to step up and make some shots and be confident about it. One thing we've always done well here is we've shared the basketball and had a lot of assists. So I think the games that we've done well in, those numbers are usually higher, and it's very simplistic to a certain point. But when we get in trouble, we don't have that. We got way more turnovers than we do assists. That's like a drastic. So if you want something specific, it's taking care of the basketball better. And we're not necessarily a 3-point shooting team. We hit 10 the other night, which might be one of our top 5 of all year. Which you know, if we can continue that, then we could be pretty good in this next week.